In good health, are nursing home patients routinely being given drugs that they don't need? That's the claim of a new report by the group Human Rights Watch. It alleges some nursing homes are purposely over-medicating people with dementia. A 157-page Human Rights Watch report estimates nursing homes are giving more than 179,000 residents antipsychotic medications without the proper diagnoses. Most of these people are older and have dementia. Researchers say facilities use the drug as a cost-effective chemical restraint to help overwhelmed staff.
Antipsychotic drugs are FDA approved for the treatment of psychosis, and they're used in nursing homes not to treat psychosis, but to keep people with dementia quiet and manageable.
The FDA says the drugs can almost double the risk of death in those patients. The report blames the government for lack of oversight. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services launched an initiative to combat the issue back in 2012. They say the effort reduced the use of antipsychotic drugs by 35%, but agree that more can be done. The Human Rights Watch report suggests alternative treatments, such as reducing loneliness and creating routines. So what can you do? If you have a loved one in a nursing home, make sure you know every medication they're getting and what it's for. Also look to see if staffing levels seem appropriate and if the facility has activities and programs designed to keep residents active and engaged.